Hi guys, welcome to this episode of Project Analysis. Today we'll be talking about Canberra Crescent Residences. As the name suggests, it will be at Canberra itself. I'll show you where the location is at. Canberra Crescent Residences is actually a L-shaped plot of land. If let's say the stack facing this way, you'll be looking at the black and white houses. Right in front of this plot of land is actually the landed enclave. On the other side, it will be the proposed education institute. We are pretty near to where the grocery shops are, healthcare, and also the hawker center coffee shops. We are actually in between two MRT stops, which is the Sembawang MRT and also Canberra MRT. So walking distance wise, we are about 6 minutes to Sembawang MRT station. Nearest to us is where the Bukit Canberra Active SG is. That's where we can do our recreational activities, and also the hawker center, and there is also a polyclinic right there. For schools wise, we are actually within 1 km of Sembawang Primary School and also Wellington Primary School. If let's say we are talking about shopping center, we are actually quite close to Canberra Plaza, Sembawang Shopping Center, and also Sun Plaza. Maybe we talk about the project information. This project is by the developer King Leong and also Low King Huat. They are actually quite reputable developers. They usually do a lot of more luxurious projects. They also do water gardens, which is within Canberra itself, pretty near to where Canberra Crescent Residences is. So total number of units, we have 376 units, 4 blocks of 12-storey residential towers. We have a sky garden and also a childcare centre within the development itself. The construction method will be the one of the newest one, which is the advanced precast concrete system. So for this project itself, you see that a lot of the units and a lot of the layouts, their walls are thinner as compared to the PPVC walls, and I will explain a bit more about what advanced precast concrete system are. This development is in District 27. The vacant possession will be on 30th April 2030. Legal completion in 30th April 2033. So site area is actually quite a big site. The site area is at 219,000 square feet, and the developer actually have a lot of facilities and spend a lot of money in the landscaping itself as well. So total number of car park lots is actually almost 1:1. So it's 382 car park lots to 376 units, because I know Singapore is going towards having EV vehicles, right? So there's actually quite a number of EV charging as well. 3 childcare center car park lots, which is used for drop-off and also for those parents who actually drive their kids to the childcare center. So they will be using a different area as compared to the residential car park. For unit mix itself, it's going to be from 1 bedroom type all the way to 4 bedroom premium. So if you look at the mixture of this, I would say almost 75% of the development itself is 3 and 4 bedder. For Canberra Crescent Residences, right, because it's in Canberra itself, so Canberra is quite a new town. It's actually nested between Sembawang and also Canberra MRT station, so it's a pretty new town. So this new township, right, if you go there to see today, especially nearer to the Canberra MRT station, there's actually a lot of BTOs right there. Some of the BTO houses has already been MOP'd already. If let's say they are looking to upgrade into their next property type, they would actually consider either executive condominium or condos nearby. For Canberra itself, right, I think one of the common objection of buying a condo in Canberra is that there are a lot of EC within the area itself. Yeah, so maybe we'll talk a bit about the ECs, what are the things that we should look out for, and what are the bedroom type that we suggest that we think that is the most preferred. This is a bit of the site plan. We have 4 blocks. These 4 blocks, 12 level tall. All the units are actually north-south facing. So this is where the landed enclave is. If you are facing this direction, it will be the HDB or the school facing. This direction, you can potentially look at the black and white bungalows. This is an L-shaped site. All the blocks are in this area, which is a rectangle shape. This rectangle of the L shape, right, the facilities are all situated right here. This is where we call the Canberra Club. I went to the show flat to take a look. It's actually very nice. And because this is by a very reputable developer, right, they really put in a lot of effort in their landscaping and also their facilities itself. Yeah, so I think you guys should take a look at it. Site plan wise, just like I said, so this is where the landed enclave is. So if let's say you're going for more premium view wise, I would suggest you taking the north-facing units. Whereas for the south-facing units, they will mostly be the education institution. If let's say you are clearing maybe level 6 to 7 and above, there will be a bigger setback. Just like I said previously, this location has a lot of EC, so maybe we can go through some of the case studies to see what happened when a location has too many executive condominium. I took out Punggol. So Punggol is actually quite a new township as well. So for the past 20 years, I think Punggol has been developing a lot of BTOs, a lot of ECs and condominiums. This is where I pull out Punggol, and in red are the executive condominium, whereas in yellow will be the condo. If you look at the prices rise, right, TOP, Bellwaters, Privé, and also River Isle. We look at Bellwaters and Privé. So Bellwater, it actually TOP in 2017, quite similar to Privé, 4 years apart, TOP in 2013. Whereas for River Isles, it TOP in 2016. So if you see the PSF, the highest PSF transacted for these two executive condominium is already at 1,546 PSF and 1,648 PSF. Whereas for the River Isle, highest transacted is at 1,516 PSF. When we look at this, right, I think a lot of buyers will be quite afraid to enter into condo, because when you enter into an EC, the quantum is actually lower as compared to when you enter into a condo. So we did dive into why the highest transacted prices is quite similar for this condo and for these ECs. Usually when we go inside a development itself, right, you will think that, EC and condo, maybe there will be a bit of difference. So I pull out the photos of the EC and the condo in Punggol itself, specifically Privé, Bellwaters and River Isle. I realized that they are actually quite similar. So when you as a buyer, right, if let's say you want to stay in Punggol and you want to upgrade to a private property, you will definitely look at the ECs and the condos nearby because of the quantum itself, right? So when the quantum is very close, right, we will actually look at these properties, and when we enter in, right, we couldn't really tell which are the ECs and which are condos because they look pretty much the same. So in facilities wise, you cannot tell much of the difference, which is why I feel that the prices didn't really have a gap between the EC and condo in terms of the transactions itself. The next case study we look at, right, is at Hougang. Hiran Bay is an EC, whereas for Riverfront Residences is actually a condo. So maybe you look at the stats for Hiran Bay, it TOP at 2015, whereas Riverfront recently TOP at 2024. But if you look at the PSF transacted in Hiran Bay, right, it's actually 1,514 PSF. Whereas for Riverfront Residences, right, it's transacted almost $400 PSF more than Hiran Bay. One of the reasons we can talk about the difference in the TOP date is maybe about 9 years apart. The second one is when I went to see the photo, you can exactly tell why Riverfront can garner such a high price and why the buyers actually don't mind paying so much more for a condo itself, because I think the layout and the development itself, right, is very well thought out, and you can feel that it's a very different vibe. That's the reason why the buyer, when they go in, they don't mind paying a premium to stay in a condo. I feel that if you are gonna buy a condo in a place where there is a lot of executive condominium, the first thing you need to look at is the facade of the condo itself. Second thing you need to look at is the layout of the unit. So we are really looking at a very practical layout for maybe mostly for HDB upgraders, and we need to look at the developer because workmanship will be very important for Canberra Crescent Residences. So given that our developers, right, are King Leong and Loh Keng Huat, right, so King Leong and Loh Keng Huat, they actually do a lot of luxury products. So what are some of the luxury products they have done? The Nassim, Mayer House and Grand Road. So people who are buying into these products, right, they are of a certain status, they have probably higher quantum, and I feel that their expectations will be a lot higher because of the quantum they are buying into, right? They will definitely have a certain standard in the type of development that they're going to stay in. So if let's say we are buying into a development that this developer actually builds, right, we will be pretty assured that the development will be really well developed, the furnishings will be of a certain standard, and I would think that even for the facilities itself, for the facade, it will be well thought out. So Loh King Huat, similarly, recently they actually did Clean Cane Hill. So I think it just fully sold out recently. So Clean Hill is also one of the high-end luxury products that these developers have done. I would think that Canberra Crescent Residences, even though it's nested near the executive condos, it's gonna be quite popular if, let's say, the buyer today can see the value of what these two developers have put into or done into the development itself. So this is some of the facilities that you will be seeing in Canberra Crescent Residences. There are actually 6 barbecue pits in total, 3 at the Sky Garden and 3 at the ground level. There is Sky Gardens as well in, I think, in 2 or 3 blocks. Even with the illustration that you can see, right, the facilities are actually quite well thought out and quite nice. So now we'll go through the 1-bedroom analysis. For 1-bedroom wise, there's only 3 units in the development itself. Why is it 3 units? It's because I think the way that they wanted to build the staircase, there was actually one void area. So with that void area, the developer actually decided to build the 1-bedroom unit instead. So maybe you talk about 1-bedroom. So 1-bedroom, the layout itself, they are all facing the landed facing, but because it's gonna be at level 1, so instead of looking at the landed, you'll probably be looking at the trees or the landscaping in front of you. Coming into this unit, it will be a galley kitchen. There will be a dining area. I think it's quite a proper dining area because there is actually quite a bit of space right here. Living area, and then there is a master bedroom and then a master bath right here. So it's like going at 409 square feet. Since there's only 3 units, you'll be at stack 12, 20 and 29. For 1-bedroom, I think you want to find something in the market within $900,000 and you want a new development. I think this is probably the only project that you can find a 1-bedroom within a $9,000 budget. Why is it so? Because if I use 2,100 PSF as the price and I times the 409 square feet, it's only about 858,000. If it's for own stay and you want to stay near in Canberra, where maybe your friends and families are staying nearby and you are lucky enough because there's only 3 units, I think this is something that you might want to consider. In conclusion, it's actually a low quantum and also in a very new development by a very reputable developers. So for 2-bedroom analysis, is split into 2-bed 1-bath and 2-bed 2-bath. For 2-bed 1-bath wise, in the development itself, we call it 2-bedroom compact. It's 570 square feet. They will be mostly the condo and HDB facing. So in total, there's actually 23 units. When you walk in here, this is the kitchen area and this is the suggested study area, which is tucked in the nook of the opposite side of the kitchen. So it's a galley kitchen, and then you have 2 bedrooms, 1 common, 1 master, and it's an ensuite to the master bath. So for this layout itself, there is only 1 bathroom. When we talk about the comparison, we use the water gardens at Canberra. Why we use the water gardens at Canberra is because it recently TOP. I have some clients who have gotten keys in that area. The total number of units is also about 448 units. So this is where Canberra Crescent Residences is, and this is where the water gardens at Canberra. And this is the Canberra MRT station. So it's actually on the opposite side of the Canberra MRT station. So we use the water gardens at Canberra to determine what is the safe entry price for Canberra Crescent. This is water gardens, 2-bed 1-bath, 678 square feet. Transacted highest PSF is already 170 PSF at the price of $1.18 million. For water gardens wise, is actually non-harmonized project, whereas for Canberra Crescent Residences is actually a harmonized project. So the difference between a harmonized project and non-harmonized project is that for the harmonized project, the aircon latches is not a part of the sellable area. With this difference, we actually take about 7 to 10% in terms of the differences, and that's how we got the PSF if, let's say, water garden is harmonized today. So if water garden is harmonized today, right, already 1,740 PSF has already been transacted, plus a 7%, it will give you 1,870 PSF. With that, we can see if you are buying into Canberra Crescent Residences at somewhere within 1,008, 1,009 PSF, I think it will be pretty safe. Why is it so? It's because first, the PSF is actually lower. Second, the quantum for a older project is already transacted at 1.18 million, and if you're entering at $1.083 million, I think it's a pretty safe entry price. So now we go into 2-bedroom premium. So for this 2-bedroom premium wise, there's actually 2 bed, 2 bath. There's 2 types of facing. One type of facing faces the landed facing, which is right here. The other facing, which will be the education, or I would say the condo HDB view. In terms of the layout wise, there is actually a very minimal difference. The difference lies in here. So maybe I go through the landed facing one, and then I will show you what the differences for the condo HDB facing is. For this landed facing, there's only 44 units in total. When you walk in here, this will be a galley kitchen. There has a tiny little bit of peninsula. This is where the study area is. There is actually their own dining area. So for the toilet wise, the common toilet is actually a Jack and Jill toilet, en suite to the bedroom too. Whereas for the master bedroom, it just links to the master bedroom itself. So the thing about 2-bedroom premium, right, there is actually balcony. This balcony wise, very different from the other development. This washer dryer is right outside. The developer actually built carpentry right in this washer dryer area outside the balcony. I think one of our concerns that we have is that we don't know whether how water resistant this carpentry is, because if let's say there's heavy rain and then wind is at a certain direction, if water is gonna seep through this carpentry, it might be an issue. So this is something for you to take note. The other one is that realize that the facade, or like the railings for the balcony area for this side and this side, right, is actually not on the same line. It's actually jagged. So it might be actually like that. So when it's like that, right, if you put zip track, right, there will be a problem, because zip track mostly is automatic, right? It will stop when it hits the bottom. If let's say they are using the same controller, yeah, there will be a chance that if let's say this zip track here stops, and then this zip track here stops, but it doesn't stop on the wall itself, and then there will be a gap here, which might potentially damage your carpentry. Yeah, so this is something to take note. Maybe you can ask some advisors from the zip track companies to see what's a better solution to actually fully enclose this area, if let's say you need to. So the difference between the landed facing and the condo HDB facing, right, is actually this width right here. You can see that it's actually mirror image. That's number one. Second thing is the width right here. You can see that the DB box, right, is here, and then the DB box is right here. So this study area is flush together with the DB box, whereas this one is actually a jagged out. So I would think that this distance is actually slightly bigger as compared to this distance itself. Okay, but for this layout, later you will see the water gardens layout. Water gardens 2 bed 2 bath, right? It's a potentially enclosable kitchen. Whereas for this one, if let's say you want to enclose the kitchen, it might be a problem unless you remove this study area and then you do a glass door right here to enclose it. Yeah, but even if you enclose it this way, right, this walkway is gonna be very narrow as well. Yeah, so this might be a potential problem that you might be buying into. So like I said, if you are buying into an area where there is a lot of EC, and if let's say EC with the same price quantum, you can buy a bigger unit in the EC and a smaller unit in a condo, right? So I think layout is actually something that you should be a bit more aware and a bit more prudent into. So we talk about the supply of the 2 bedrooms in Canberra area itself. The supply is actually pretty low at 12%. Some of these like Brownstone, Park Canberra, they're actually EC. It's a mixture of EC and condominium. So for EC and condominium, when we add them all together, right, it only have 12% in the whole entire Canberra Sembawang area. So buying into 2 bedroom in Canberra, I think when we talk about property, right, we talk about demand and supply. So buying into something that has low supply might actually be an advantage to you. Okay, why is it so? For the 2-bedroom, okay, 2 bed 1 bath and 2 bed 2 bath, right? If you see the average transacted price, right, is about, for 2 bed 1 bath is about 1.041 million. The average profit is going at $130,000 already. Whereas for 2 bed 2 bath, right, the average purchase price is at $1.127 million, and the average profit is almost double as compared to the 2 bed 1 bath. So in terms of ROI, right, actually the 2 bed 2 bath ROI is a lot higher at 80%. So if you talk about you want a higher return of investment, I think you can buy into 2-bedder, but I would suggest that maybe you might want to buy into the 2 bed 2 bath, because if you talk about exit strategy, it will be more palatable in a sense whereby the people is going to buy in Canberra, in terms of EC or in terms of condominium, right, there are usually HDB upgraders, or those people who actually their house already MOP, they want to upgrade into a private property. With that in mind, they might not prefer 2 bed 1 bath because they are very used to 2 bath already, which is why you see that the ROI is actually a lot higher. The average profit that they get is also a lot higher. So what is a safe entry price for Canberra Crescent for 2 bed 2 bath? So just now I said that for Water Gardens 2 bed 2 bath, right, it's actually at 797 square feet. You see they have an enclosable kitchen right here. Yeah, whereas for Canberra Crescent Residences, you don't have an enclosable kitchen. So that might be potentially one of concern. But if let's say you still want to buy into a new development itself, I will show you what is a safe entry price that I recommend. So for Canberra Crescent, the highest PSF transacted is already 1,833 PSF, transacting at $1.46 million. So for sellable area after harmonization is about 741 square feet, pretty much quite similar to the 2 bed 2 bath for Canberra Crescent Residences at 667. So we'll use that as a benchmark. So the highest transacted price in terms of PSF after harmonization for Water Gardens, right, will be at 1,970 PSF. So if you're buying into Canberra Crescent Residences, right, at 1,900, 2,000, right, I think it's pretty safe. First thing, you'll be buying lower than the highest transacted price. The second thing is that the quantum itself is actually lower than the highest transacted price already. So that gives you a good safety buffer when you enter into Canberra Crescent Residences. So our top pick for 2 bedroom will actually be the 2 bed 2 bath because of the ROI, and because when we talk about exit strategy, we are looking at the HDB upgraders who actually prefer the 2 bathrooms and you get a higher ROI. These are the 2 points that we are looking into, and this is why we suggest to go for the 2 bedroom units, which is facing the HDB and condo facing because of the quantum itself. So now I will go through the 3 bedroom analysis. So for 3 bedroom wise, you have quite a number of units. I split them up into 3 bedroom compact and also 3 bedroom premium. So for the 3 bedroom compact itself, they don't have the household shelter. Maybe I go through the layout. So this is type BRCA. It's actually the landed view for the 3 units, and the other one would be square feet wise is 797 square feet for both of these units. This will be the condo and HDB facing, also 47 units. Whereas for this one wise, the one in black, there is only 4 units in total, and they are the top floor unit. So they are actually nested in this one right here. 4 units in total, so maybe I will explain a bit what the differences are. So for this 3 bedroom CA unit, coming in here, there is a kitchen, there is tucked in on one side, and potentially this can be enclosable. This is a dining area. It's a dumbbell layout. So the common bathroom is right here, and it's ensuite to one of the common bedrooms. This is the other common bedroom, and this is the master bedroom. So we have 2 bathrooms, and then this is the master bath. If you realize that for the compact layout, right, they don't have windows in the kitchen and the bathroom. So for this one, it's actually, I would say it's a mirror image. Similarly for the balcony, right, Just now when I explained in the 2-bedroom premium, for a balcony there actually has the carpentry inside. One is the landed facing and the condo HDB facing. Other than the facing itself, is actually a mirror image of it. And for this top floor unit that is in this exact same stack, this is at 872 square feet. So the difference is only at the master bedroom area. So if you see, this is the master bedroom. This is where you can put a king size bed, and this is where the wardrobe is, whereas for this top floor unit is actually a walk-in wardrobe. So there is only 4 units in total for this bedroom type. But I would think that if you are going for this top floor unit, right, it's because for this development, the premium will be at the landed facing because that's where you get the unblocked view. Second thing is that every level, you have been to a lot of different new launches, or if you are selling your house now, right, you will know that if you are going for the higher floor units, there will definitely be a premium jump. So I would think that if let's say you are purchasing it at 2100 PSF, right, at 872 square feet at 2100 PSF is already going at 1.831 million. And if you ask me, is it worth paying almost 100 square feet more for the walk-in wardrobe wise? I would not think so, even though it's top floor unit, is because like I said, the bathroom doesn't have windows, the kitchen don't have windows. I wouldn't really prefer this layout because first thing first, it doesn't meet what most people like, which is no windows at the bathroom area and the kitchen area. Second thing is that if you are buying in this area, quantum is very important, and with $1.831 million, I think there are a lot more options and choices for you to choose from. So this is the bigger unit, 3-bedroom compact. This is 883 square feet. So the difference comes in when you enter, there is this wall here which gives you a bit of a privacy, and also they comes with dry kitchen and the study area, and they give you an enclosable wet kitchen. So things to note, you have windows in the kitchen and the bathroom area, which is very important for HDB upgraders. Second thing is that this study area. So this study area is tucked next to the wet kitchen. I wouldn't really call this a study area because thing first is that you can put this as a study area where you enclose this, but I feel that this should actually be called a flexi area. Why? Because there are actually a lot of potential to convert this study area to something else. You can convert this area to a dry pantry area, a storeroom area, or even if let's say you have a helper at home, because you need to know that this 3-bedroom doesn't have a household shelter. You might need to utilize these common bedrooms for your kids, and you and your husband will be sleeping in the master bedroom, right? So this study room can actually be converted as a helper's room by building foldable doors right here. And then you can easily put a super single or a mattress right here for your helpers to sleep in. For this 883 square feet layout, I think it's quite usable because of this flexi area, and I think it will be highly sought after because of the windows in the kitchen and the bathroom, and this privacy area gives you quite a bit of privacy. So the difference between 883 right and 872 right, the layout wise is pretty much the same. All the bedrooms, for the common bedrooms, they can put a queen size bed. For the master bedroom, they can put a king size bed. Similarly, you have a study and a dry kitchen right here. So the extra 11 square feet, right, I would think that is right in the entrance area right here. I think both of these layout pretty good, because even this, they give you some kind of privacy. When you enter, you don't really see the whole entire dining and living space because of this wall right here. But this gives you more area to put your shoe cabinets. So that's where the 11 square meters come about. Next thing, I want to talk about this study area. Rather than putting it as a dry pantry area, converting it as a helper's room, or potentially putting it as a storeroom, what you can do if you are someone who really love hosting, right? You can knock off this study room wall, because this one is actually hackable and it will give you a very huge dining space right here. So I think if you're someone who really love hosting, or if you have a lot of guests that comes for meal, you can potentially do that as well. This development, like I said, is the way they build it is a bit different. They use the advanced method to build it. So a lot of the walls right here, right, are hackable wall. So they give you a lot of idea for customization. Next one will be the 3-bedroom premium unit. So the difference between the 3-bedroom premium unit and the 3-bedroom compare, right, is the additional WC area, also the household shelter right here. Dry kitchen wise, they give you another peninsula right here. So for the 3-bedroom premium unit, it will be 990 square feet. Coming in here, same thing, you got a good privacy area because you don't get to see the whole entire living and dining space. You have a dry kitchen right here, a wet kitchen that comes together with a window. Similarly, you have a WC, your study area, common bathroom, the master bathroom. All common bedroom can put a queen size bed. For the master bedroom, you can easily put a king size bed, and comes together with a household shelter right here. For this unit, right, it will be the landed facing. If I never remember wrongly, there's only 12 units in total. For this unit wise, it will be a mixture of a landed facing and also the HDB facing. So for here wise, the difference between this layout and this layout is actually the orientation of the household shelter, whereas the rest of the thing will remain unchanged. So similarly for this study area, you can potentially remove it and have a bigger dining space, or alternatively, right, you can make this a helper's room and a helper can use this WC toilet right here. So our top pick for the 3-bedroom is actually the 872 square feet one. Because of this study area, right, in terms of quantum wise, I would think that the difference will be the household shelter right here and also the dry kitchen. So if let's say you don't really need the household shelter, the difference is about 120 square feet difference. So if let's say you don't need the household shelter, you can actually potentially have your storeroom in the study area. Then I would actually go for this 3-bedroom compact at 872 square feet, because I feel that in terms of the livable space wise, right, it's more than sufficient already. So it's a very good quantum, it's a very good size, and the study room can potentially be your storeroom if let's say you don't have a household shelter, especially for this unit type. The bedrooms are all sizable. You can put a queen and a master, queen size bed in the common bedroom and a king size bed in the master bedroom. And I like that all bathrooms and the kitchen has the window, which give you a very good ventilation. So I would highly recommend this 3-bedroom compact at 872 square feet, which only gives you 12 units in total. So quantum wise, why is it good is because similarly, it's a condo HDB facing. Now let's go to the 4-bedroom analysis. Okay, so for this 4-bedroom analysis, there's also split into the 4-bedroom compact, 4-bedroom standard, and 4-bedroom premium. So maybe I'll talk about the 4-bedroom compact. 4-bedroom CA, which is the landed facing right here. So there is actually 24 units for this layout. Coming in here, this is a very good layout because coming in here, right, there is privacy. So this is actually very good. Most of the 3-bedroom and the 4-bedroom, right, there is some kind of privacy right here. Coming in here, this is where the dry pantry is, the wet kitchen. They have a semi-yard area right here, a WC and a household shelter tucked inside the kitchen itself. This is where the dining area is. The living area is actually at a span of 3 meters in terms of length. The study room is right here in front of the living area. This is a wall that you can potentially remove. So when you remove this wall, you have a very good living area space at 4.5 meters long. But the thing is that there is a pillar right here. So even when you remove this wall, there will be a pillar right here. So your door towards the balcony cannot be put all the way. So this whole entire area, even if you put all the way, right, there will still be this pillar right here. So might not be as grand, but I think it's still okay because the study and the living area leads you right to the balcony area. So if you can actually don't mind this pillar right here, I think it's still alright. The other one is the common bathroom. The bathroom in this layout has a window in all the bathrooms. The common bathroom, 3 common bedroom, which can actually put a queen size bed. Master bedroom wise can put a king size bed. This is 1,163 square feet, For the 1,173 square feet, which will be the HDB condo facing, 12 units in total, where the differences lies, right? It's only at the entryway area, while the rest is the same, similar to the 1,163 square feet. So similarly for the study area right here, even if you remove this wall to potentially have a bigger living area space, right, you will still have this pillar right here. So it might not look as grand as compared to maybe you go next to the 4-bedroom standard. So 4-bedroom standard is at 1,216 square feet. This will be a landed facing with only 12 units. Maybe I'll go through a bit on the layout, then I will let you know what the difference between the 4-bedroom compact and 4-bedroom standard is. Coming in here, this is where your wet kitchen. Your household shelter is actually tucked in opposite of the wet kitchen. It's actually quite a good space. Wet kitchen right here, you have a WC, and the study area, if you see, is at a different location, which is quite near to the wet kitchen area. You have a dry kitchen right here, and this is your dining and living space. Previously, with the 4-bedroom compact, the study area is actually right here. So that's the difference. For bathroom wise, there is actually 2 common bathrooms with windows and a master bathroom with windows also. I would say most of the bedrooms comes together with an ensuite toilet. These are the 2 common bedrooms that come with an ensuite toilet, except for this common bedroom. But all bedrooms can actually put a queen size bed. And this is a master bedroom that has an ensuite master bath as well. So this master bedroom is slightly longer at 3.4 meter. So maybe I'll go through the 4-bedroom standard, which is another layout as B. The size wise is the same at 121 square feet. The difference wise, the layout wise, right, in this area, right, is all the same except for the household shelter. Similarly, is also the landed facing. For this wise, there is 24 units in total. If you talk about a good facing, right, even for low floor rise, right, I would think that this layout will be the best because it's the unit right here. So with this unit, right, because of this where the facilities are, right, this unit will potentially be looking at the facilities. Whereas these two, if let's say you are going for low floor, you'll only be looking at the landscaping right in front of you. If you are going for higher floor like level 5 onwards, you might be looking at the landed view, but sometimes you might actually look at the roof of the landed view. So I would think that the premium will likely be this or this unit right here. So the difference between the 4-bedroom standard and 4-bedroom compact is that this gives you a bigger living and dining space. They don't have a pillar right in the center. So in terms of the frontage wise, right, it's actually very wide at 4.85 meter, or I would say even at 5 meter, because 4.85 is the balcony and this living and dining area is actually at 5 meters. So it's actually a very big frontage. It will definitely look very grand. The second thing is that the study room location is different. So this is where the study room is. Just like I said previously, alternatively you can make this a flexi area, or this is actually a show flat unit. So you can see, even if you knock off this wall, right, so the show flat unit, they actually knock off the wall and it still looks very nice. The other thing I can think of, right, you can potentially, because this is where the dry kitchen is, where you have an island right here already, potentially you can have another island right here and put your coffee area. So this becomes part of your breakfast bar, and it will be very good for your, if let's say you like hosting. Why? Usually in the wet kitchen, right, there's only one entrance to it, but this has 2 entrances. So if you knock off this wall, it gives you more flexibility and it looks a lot more grand. So your house will look very grand. So in terms of top up wise, right, because this is at 1216 square feet and this is at 1163 square feet, right, you really need to top up another 53 square feet. If let's say the PSF is at 2000 PSF, right, you need to top up another $106,000 to give you, number one, very good frontage area in terms of the living and dining area, and also a very good hosting space if you remove this study area. The last one will be the 4-bedroom premium. This 4-bedroom premium is actually 12 units in total. I'll go through the layout, then I'll tell you what the differences is. First layout, so entering into the unit, similarly you get very good privacy because of wall right here. The household shelter on the right side. If you move towards the left is where the wet kitchen is, and then if you come in from here, this is where your study area is, And if you don't enter in from the back kitchen, you come in here. This is where your dry kitchen is. For frontage wise, it's slightly longer at 5.2 meters. You have all bedroom for this layout has an ensuite toilet. This is the common toilet, which is Jack and Jill shared between this common and the guests. Second thing, these two common bedrooms, which can put a queen size bed, is a Jack and Jill shared between this bedroom. So this bathroom is actually shared between these bedrooms. Third will be this master bedroom. You see the master bedroom is slightly different as compared to the 4-bedroom standard and compact, because you get a very good walk-in wardrobe and it links you to the master bathroom. So for this layout, similarly, you see all the bathroom has natural ventilation where we have windows. The wet kitchen also have windows, and the WC itself also has window. So the difference between this 4-bedroom premium and 4-bedroom standard wise is number one, the bigger living and dining room space. At 5.25 meter, this is actually at 5 meter long. Second thing, a bigger balcony. Third, the bigger wet and dry kitchen. Your dry kitchen, instead of having just one peninsula, you have an L-shaped dry kitchen right here. Slightly bigger WC place, and most importantly, a bigger master bedroom. But for this wise, because it's a 4-bedroom premium and the unit size is at 1324 square feet, so we feel that in terms of the view, it will be the best view, and it will be the most expensive unit because it's actually the biggest unit. If you compare between 1216, which is the 4-bedroom standard, and 1324, is almost 100 square feet difference. To pay that 100 square feet difference just because of ensuite toilet shared between the bedrooms, and also a bigger dry kitchen and walk-in wardrobe for the master bedroom, I don't think that is worth that kind of price, because I feel that the 4-bedroom standard is good enough. Why? Because you can see a very good living and dining space already. Yeah, so this gives you a very good frontage. It gives you a very good feel of the house, and I potentially feel that this unit might actually go up to quite a high quantum. So if I calculate about the quantum wise, I use 1324 I times 2100 PSF. The quantum is already 2.78 mil. So with 2.78 mil, when we think about who are our buyers in the future, I think at this quantum is highly unlikely that it might actually be the HDB upgraders. Most likely will be the owners who is staying in this landed and they want to potentially move to a condo. Then they might actually think of this unit type itself. So my top pick for the 4-bedroom is actually the 4-bedroom standard. Why is it so? It's because of this very huge frontage, which gives a very good view, and this study area, which potentially you can knock it off, you remove the walls and make this a breakfast bar, and with the great living and dining space and a significantly different layout as compared to the nearby EC 4 bedrooms or even the 5 bedrooms, right, which actually don't give you such a big frontage, right? I think this 4-bedroom standard will actually be quite a good deal, and it will be quite outstanding if, let's say, you see the different layouts with this budget itself. Next thing, very good facing, because they are all landed or even your old condo facilities facing. So my top pick for the 4-bedroom will be the 4-bedroom standard. So if you are buying into this project, right, what you need to know is that you need to be sure that your entry price is very safe. You are entering in a very safe quantum because you have a lot of ECs nearby. The quantum that you're going to enter in needs to be very safe. If not, you will have trouble exiting in the future. The thing to remember is that you need to make sure that you know what your exit strategy is. Is this going to be your last house? If it's going to be your last house, then you buy something that you want to stay inside. I hope This analysis gives you a better idea on what to choose for Canberra Crescent Residences on the booking day itself. If let's say today you are going for a 2-bedroom, we already have our top picks. Similarly for the 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom, you just need to remember on booking day itself, you need to buy into a safe PSF. Why is it so? It's because you are surrounded by a lot of executive condominium in that area. So safe PSF is actually very important. Second thing is that you need to enter into a safe quantum so that in next time your competitors, which is going to be the EC, it wouldn't be so hard for you to exit in the future. Third thing, you need to be sure that you like the furnishings that the developers is going to give you, and you need to compare it with the nearby ECs as well, so that when in the future when the buyers come in, they will know that they don't mind paying that extra money for the facilities, for the finishings that the developers is going to give, because they are going to be paying slightly more as compared to, let's say, if you're going for a 3-bedroom for your condo instead of the nearby ECs. Other than this, our next video we will be touching on the River Valley. So River Valley will be a very exciting area for the next few months. Why is it so? Because there are a lot of plots of developments that is gonna come up in River Valley. I will be analyzing all these developments in the couple of weeks time. Alright, so I will see you there and stay tuned for my River Valley analysis. Alright, thank you.